What if I told you this chapter isn't about romance? It's about expectation versus reality. What if I told you sometimes the strangest surprises aren't dangerous, they're simply revealing? Because in this chapter, Elizabeth finally steps into a world she has only heard about. A house described with pride, a marriage explained as sensible, a powerful lady spoken of with awe. And now, she gets to see it all with her own eyes. She expects regret. She expects awkwardness. She even half expects to feel she made a mistake. But what she finds instead is something far more complicated. A friend who seems content. A husband who is exactly the same as ever. A home that is small but carefully arranged. And a life that somehow works. Then comes the name she has heard so often, Lady Catherine. A woman described as grand, commanding, impressive. But before Elizabeth ever meets her, she witnesses something stranger. A sudden arrival, a quiet carriage, two unfamiliar women at the gate. Excitement rises, confusion follows, and expectations begin to crack. This chapter is not loud. It is observational. It watches people. It watches pride. It watches comfort. It watches how some marriages are built on affection and others on management. Stay with me, because by the end of this chapter, Elizabeth will not be thinking about who she might have married. She will be thinking about what kind of life she never wants to live. Elizabeth did not know what she would feel when she arrived. Regret? Curiosity? Or nothing at all? Because this place represented a life she had once refused, and now she was about to see it. As the carriage moved through the countryside, Elizabeth felt lighter than she had in weeks. Jane had looked healthy. Her future journey with her aunt filled her with excitement, and the thought of seeing Charlotte again stirred unexpected warmth. When the carriage turned into a narrow lane, every eye searched for the parsonage. Then it appeared. Small, neat, quiet, not grand, not miserable, just modest. Charlotte and Mr. Collins stood at the door. Charlotte smiled with genuine happiness. That smile unsettled Elizabeth, because Charlotte looked content. Mr. Collins, however, was exactly the same. Stiff, formal, proud. Marriage had not changed him, and suddenly Elizabeth understood something important. Charlotte had not married him hoping he would improve. She had married him knowing exactly who he was. Inside the house, everything was simple, but carefully arranged. Nothing fancy, nothing neglected. Elizabeth noticed something else. When Mr. Collins said something foolish, Charlotte did not react. She did not correct him. She did not argue. She simply did not listen. Charlotte had learned how to manage her life, not romantically, but practically. That realization struck Elizabeth harder than expected. Then came the garden walk. Mr. Collins proudly pointed at every tree and path. Elizabeth barely heard him. Her eyes were drawn to a large house in the distance. Rosings, the home of Lady Catherine, the woman Mr. Collins spoke of with awe. At dinner, he praised her endlessly. They dined at Rosings twice a week. A carriage was always sent for them. Elizabeth listened politely, but inside a quiet warning formed. Any life that revolved around pleasing another person was not a life she wanted. That night, alone in her room, Elizabeth thought about Charlotte. Not with judgment, not with pity, but with understanding. Charlotte had chosen security,
Elizabeth had chosen independence. Neither choice was perfect, but both were honest. The next day, sudden excitement filled the house. Maria rushed to Elizabeth. "There is something to see." Elizabeth expected something dramatic, but outside stood only two women in a small carriage. One of them was Miss de Bourgh, Lady Catherine's daughter. Elizabeth studied her. Thin, pale, sickly, not impressive, not powerful. And suddenly Elizabeth understood something else. So this was the greatness everyone feared. Not monsters, not royalty, just ordinary people with extraordinary pride. Mr. Collins nearly trembled with excitement. Sir William bowed repeatedly. Charlotte remained calm. Elizabeth felt a quiet surge of clarity. She had not lost anything by refusing Mr. Collins. She had escaped a life built on submission. This visit was not showing her what she missed. It was showing her what she avoided. And that understanding stayed with her. Because for the first time, Elizabeth was not thinking about marriage, not thinking about romance. She was thinking about herself and the kind of life she wanted to live.